because I'm always, as an entrepreneur, wanting to critique everything and wanted to change that. So immediately I wanted to come up and say, that was great, but how can I make that better? And I was doing my typical, people like that? They want to mess with everything and make it better. Is that why this is formed? You got people like me, I'm looking at it like, wait, could we have that do better? And could I have Cameron do this? And could we have that go on? And I have 50 new ideas before I walked up here. So this is going to be unstructured, yet there's a ton of structure that's hidden. And I think if there's any room in the world I could find a process and a structure and a pattern to an insane man, I think that's going to help you out a lot. And I'm also going to tell you, I'm excited to be here for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted my new COO, Jason, to be in this room of people to see what we do. So eventually he'll be sitting in this room, and we'll be talking about that as well, which I'm excited about because I wanted to leak into a little bit about how you guys do what you're going to do. So when Cameron and I spoke a few minutes ago, I walked in and I said, what do you want me to discuss? What would be the biggest win? What would be the biggest takeaway? And he described a little bit about you guys and what you're dealing with and some of the stuff. And I say you guys, I'm from Jersey. Is anyone from Jersey? Who's from Jersey? Nobody? You guys all from here? Okay. I don't know where you guys are from, but back in Jersey, it's like you guys, and that's how we talk. So I won't have that go away immediately. But what I will say is that Cameron gave me a little insight that I believe will be able to help all of us out quite a bit, is that he told me that if I can get you guys in an hour to have a couple of strategies and techniques that you can use to get your point across quicker to your team and help people function quicker and take action faster, you guys would get excited. Is that correct?
Right. Amen.
He also said if you can drip in a little bit on how to communicate better with your CEO and your subordinates and everything, you guys would be super happy. Am I correct? Okay. He also said that if we could get past some of these personal roadblocks that I know a lot of us deal with due to the fact that it's February right now, and the beginning of the year, everybody had these New Year's resolutions, goals, plans, and everything. And probably had your whole team fired up right around Christmas bonus time, when everybody was fired up and they had all these plans of what they were going to do next year. And now, at least here in Arizona, it's almost summer because it's February 1st, and it looks like summer, so everybody's already on a break because that was really cool to be motivated for a couple of months. How do we get your company to accelerate itself super quickly? So my background, just to be very, very super clear, I've ran my company now for almost 15 years. My strong suit, when I first got started, I was one of those guys that had to figure things out. And what I mean by figure things out is I was one of those people that didn't really have all the answers, and I got thrown into entrepreneurship by demand. So to give you a little insight about most entrepreneurs, we have to do this. It's who we are. Like I read J. Paul Getty's book on how to be rich, and it said there's 4 types of people. You can write that down, how to be rich. There's always one person that writes it. You don't have to read it because I can describe it in very simple detail. That the 4 types of people, there's the people that work really well for other people. That was not me. I don't work well with other people. Number 2 is there's people that can manage other people for other people's companies. There's the 3rd type of person that's like all of us here in this room that are really cool with helping someone else run their idea and run their company. And then there's the guy that needs to run the show. Now, it's not out of ego, but one of the things is I'm that person. I've always been that person since my landscaping company. But no one ever showed me. I never got into business school. I never learned any of this stuff. So when I became an entrepreneur, I had to figure out how to survive. I had to figure out how to build my business. And I picked up, like that golf swing, tons of really horrible habits along the way. And I built the entire thing off survival mode. Now, I don't know if any of you run into that. I guarantee there's seeds of this. And I'm speaking for me right now, and I'm glad you guys showed up to be here, so I'm healing my own problems right now. But there's seeds of this in my life and in all CEOs and all owners of companies and entrepreneurs that things they didn't deal with when they first got started are still surfacing later on. So I know part of your job is, all of you want you to understand, is you're a therapist. And your job is to listen, to deal with. Am I on the right page? Am I correct about this? Okay. Like Jason's job for 2 months was to listen to me and literally hear me complain and get excited and fired up. And I mean, last night we were on the phone till 2 o'clock in the morning. How many of you ever got that phone call? Okay, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we had to be up this morning at 5 because my wife has an event this weekend for ladies, and I'm Mr. Mom and Mr. Dad and get them ready to school and be Mr. Whack Job Entrepreneur. So back to where I was going, and if you attempt to follow my presentation today in a linear fashion, I won't have one. And I'm only telling you this on purpose because that's not how the brain works, and a lot of you think that, so you're set on that's how you think that brain works. That's how people learn. That's not how people change. And there's a big difference between learning and changing. You may learn math, but if you actually change who you are, you can actually have money in the bank account. Do you understand that? You might learn a financial strategy, but if you can change The dynamics of your brain, that is not from a linear equation. That's from what they call a peak emotional experience. And one of those is the simplest thing of letting go and not worrying about how it's going to work out. So how many of you are cool with, I won't tell anybody, for 1 hour or 48 minutes, whatever I have left, how many of you are cool with not worrying where this is going and just getting what you get? You guys cool with that? Okay, first time ever, I'm not going to tell anybody. You don't have to figure anything out here. There's no process other than the one I'm going to give you. So back to what I was saying earlier. When I first got started in business, I really had to figure it out. So really it was survival mode. So my main objective when I first got started was I needed to sell so I could survive, so I could live. So my entire business model was designed, how do I survive? How do I get by? And I promise you, deep rooted in your boss, in the CEO of the company, that teammate, that person you hang with, is this ultimate desire down at the beginning of how do we make this thing work and how do we survive and how do we get by that we're still dealing with today. So when you get that 2 o'clock in the morning phone call that sales need to go up or that 2 o'clock that we need to change 50 things, it's coming from that. So how I dealt with that when I first got started was I would go to events, I'm no different than you guys, and I'd be at an event in a place like this. And while I was there, I remember one day telling myself that I was doing well, but I knew I wasn't doing well. And I know that there's areas of your life when we do that automatic response. How many of you ever had a really bad day and you're not doing that great, and everyone asks how you're doing, you still say good? How many of you ever had that? Like it's automatic. Hey, good, I'm fine, I'm good, it's okay. And it's like acting like it's okay, even when it's not. So I'm at this event, and I'm dealing with all these entrepreneurs, and this guy in front of the room said a very, very interesting thing. He said, how many of you are business owners? Now let's get really clear. I've been selling myself on the idea I'm a business owner. I remember going down to ASU and asking, can I get in the business school? And they laughed at me. They're like, have you seen your transcripts? Like, I probably do better than anyone in my graduating class, but I never got into the business school. So I learned everything through the streets, through hard knocks. And why I'm telling you this is, I'm at this event and I'm standing up and I'm playing the part of 2 different people. No different than you guys who, I'll give you a lot of credit, you do basically run the company. Do you understand that? And if you didn't exist, they'd probably be in jail. Do you understand? Like, let's just get really real. I don't know what they'd be doing, robbing a bank to get by, to figure out payroll, to do whatever they need to do. You guys have a very, very special job. So in that moment, I stood up, and we've all dealt with this before, and I said, very simply, I'm a business owner. And then I did the, am I really, is this imposter thing, am I really making this work? Because I was getting by, but my ego of what I was doing was stronger. What the company could do, this delusion that we have, was grander than my actual deliverables. Then I stood up and he said, how many of you are salespeople? I know we're not in a room of people that maybe would typically call yourself salespeople, but how many of you recognize you're responsible for sales? Am I correct? You're responsible for sales. Now, I truly didn't see myself as a salesperson, but I raised my hand. And the guy said something that day that changed my life that I want to throw at you right now, and it's a secret weapon that if you have the courage to take this on, could change everything for you. And it's something that I know that you have to get today, that this is the big reason that I'm here. And I raised my hand like I'm a salesperson. Even though I feared it, even though I worried about it, even though I knew I could do it if I had to. And this guy looks around the room, total confidence he had. He said, every one of you that thinks you need to do sales and does sales is a sucker. And he said it really like tougher than that. I gave him a look like you did, like sucker? What do you mean sucker? And he goes, why would you want to be a salesperson when you can learn to be a person of influence? And I thought of those words that day, and I got obsessed with that because what I didn't recognize is a very, very subtle thing. I was hurting financially, worried a little bit in my company when I first got started. But what was interesting was that I was thinking he meant influence other people. I had no idea what he meant is the ability to influence myself. Now, I'm going to tell you that if you could learn what I'm about to talk about here today, the subtle process of influence, and influencing other people, influence yourself, you can change anything in your life. I think of Cameron here, and he was watching me do some like ninja stuff earlier. If you can influence yourself to be more confident, I guarantee I can show you 2 techniques that you can do today to lower the resistance in your entire team in every conversation. Because do you guys run meetings?
Yeah.
You don't run meetings? Meetings suck. Okay, now, what's interesting is, how many of you run a meeting? Anybody run a meeting? How many of you would like to say 5 things at the beginning of the meeting to get everybody on the same page? How many of you would love that? How many of you love the ability to lower resistance in other people, increase receptivity, and make your job easier? Do you guys want that? And how many of you would like a golden key how to deal with the whack job? Do you guys want that? We don't call them the whack job, we just call them the CEO. But we need them to be wacky. We talked about this earlier, and this is not a negative. We talked about this earlier because the second you take our wackiness away, there's no money for the company. Because the wackiness comes from the crazy ideas that 1 in 15 work really well and we all get rich. So what I want to show you right now is a very, very simple process. And it's a subtle thing that most people don't miss, that all of you can do. That as soon as I'm done, I'm going to show you what we're up against, and then I'll answer questions, and I can help you from there. And I'm also going to tell you that when you watch me today, I'm different than Cameron and most other people that you're going to see speak in the rest of your life. And I'm going to ask you to do something different. And I'm going to say I'm different than Cameron for a very specific reason. I'm different than your experience of him up till now. And I'm going to ask you to see things differently after today, because I believe one of the biggest challenges that we have in this world is we go into events like this. You guys have plans for everything other than the simple plan. How are you going to get the most out of this? You showed up here. And literally, I'm going to tell you, you didn't have a plan. Like, what's your plan for being here? I'd love to hear this. Because you're a plan, right?
Yes.
So what is your strategy for learning, implementing, and executing what you learn here to kick some ass when you go home?
I listen. I do a lot of listening.
Very good. How's it working for you?
It's going well so far.
Okay, good. I have a better strategy. Is that work for retaining?
Retaining what I've learned?
Yeah.
For me, when I write it down, yes.
How would you like to how would you like to have it affect you emotionally and literally get it where it's automatically in your brain, you can recall it anytime you want? Would that be more effective?
Absolutely.
Do you believe there's people that have better learning strategies than you guys have here in this room?
Yes.
What most people never realize is there is a way to take in information where I have trained myself, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this, how to literally slow down time. So when you hear Cameron later today, and he speaks, and other people in this room speak, and you share, how many of you would like to bring that with you, and it sticks with you pretty much forever if you want it, and get rid of the shit you don't want? How many of you are cool with that? So there's a strategy for that. Does anybody else have a learning strategy? This is the question. So Cameron, write this down. It's a learning strategy. Does anybody else have a learning retention strategy that they knew before they showed up that this was going to be different than third grade English? For most of us, your strategy is simple. I'll sit here, I'll see what it takes, I'll write down some notes, I may look at them later, but you don't have a strategy that allows you to learn. Now, why I know this is I have the ability, and I did it this last weekend, to teach anybody how to do anything in a matter of minutes. I've taught people how to take a process of learning how to do a chiropractic adjustment, and it took 4 years of chiropractic school, and I showed a group of people, and I don't even know how to do one, in 4 minutes how every one of them could do it. I've taken people that have feared hula hooping their entire life, and 30 seconds later have the ability to hula hoop. I'm also going to take a room full of you guys and show you how to get the most out of every event from this day forward by learning very simply. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, and this is an interesting strategy, is I'm going to ask you to think about this. Let's play a little game here real quick, and this will be very helpful for you guys. And why I'm bringing this up is twofold. One is, this is for you, and two is, I need you to think about this the next time you communicate with anybody from this day forward. So number one is, I'm going to do it to you. And number two is, from this day forward, I want you to do this for other people. I'm reading this book years back, and it's a simple book, and you don't need to write down the name. But it's Moshe Feldenkraus's book, The Elusive Obvious. If you think of the word, it's like this obvious thing that most people miss. And it says, very simply, why is it that the average, anyone have kids here? You raise your hands high if you have them. Raise your hands if you want to get rid of them. Okay. Anyone have a teenage girl that can help me with this because I need help? She wants to go to a concert with a bunch of guys that we don't know this week. Okay. So,
Yeah.
what's that? Yeah. Do you talk to her?
I
Straight
will.
nuts
I will
out?
totally talk to her.
Okay, good. I'm just kidding. She's a good kid. So what's interesting is, and you might think that why am I going that way? Pay very close attention to the things I'm doing. That wasn't random. There's a reason for what I just did, and I want you to pay attention because I want you to get this. Now, in this book, very, very simply, what happened is, the guy said, why is it that a 4 or 5-year-old kid knows what they like? Now, if you ask a 4 or 5-year-old kid, a little girl, what are they going to say their favorite color is?
Pink.
Or if they can't say pink, what are they going to say? Purple. Purple. You ask a little boy, and I'm just stereotyping right now, what are they going to say? Blue or what?
Red.
Black or red or there. You ask a little kid what their favorite food is, what are they all going to say?
Pizza.
Pizza or?
Mac
and cheese, right? Automatically. Now, they know who they are. Now, if you take an average 40-year-old CEO, and you ask them their favorite color, what are they going to say? Well, where are we putting it? Do we need to decide right now? Is this part of the next meeting? Am I correct, folks? They can't answer the question. Or they're going to say black, but by the way, where are we putting it? And they put an attachment onto it. So you ask, like, I mean, how many of you ever have this at your office? Hey guys, we're bringing lunch for the team tomorrow. What do you guys want? You guys ever done that stupid thing? What happens when you ask, what do we want? How long is that going to take? You got to pull it. You got to process it. You got to hire an extra person to bring them in. You got to analyze the handwriting. Am I right? It's a process. But if you ask a little kid, what do we want? 5 seconds later, Domino's is on the phone. Am I correct? Instantly, it's over. So what is that gap and what happens? Now, I want you to understand this because I know a lot of you are working on balance in your life. How many of you would love more balance? How many of you would love the ability to enjoy your life a lot more? I'm going to give you this little insight. I don't know if this motivates you or not, but all of you are dying. Did you know that? From this terminal illness called birth, that we're not going to be here forever. So I would like you, you all look young enough, I'd like you to enjoy your life. And part of that is learning about yourself. So you got a 4-year-old kid that knows who they are and a 40-year-old lost. I believe, and this is what the book said, I believe that somebody, it's a hallucination I have, somebody comes into these 4-year-olds' lives, grabs them, and says, you seem like you're doing a good job. I got a few ideas how I think you can live better. Here's how to live. These people are very creative. They're parents, grandparents, priests, rabbis, you know what I'm saying? Good teachers, business owners, good well-meaning people. And they say, you know, here's how to live. If you do what I do, even though it hasn't worked for me, it may work for you. And if you do this strategy that worked in the 70s, it may work today. And what's interesting is you go from having an entire life of a personal education of understanding yourself to an entire life that is about social education about how to be. This is a fascinating thing. Like, I'll give you guys an example here real quick. I'm going to show you what you're up against in a meeting. Who here has ever got a flat tire before? Okay. Could you help me?
Sure.
Sure means what?
Yes.
I just want to tell you how CEO refers to sure. Sure is very equivalent to that. We don't mean it, but we don't like that. I'm going to tell you there's no definitive answer. So I'm going to give you entrepreneur speak. We don't like sure, because sure is kind of like a screw your mother. Does that make sense? So being serious, we want to hear what?
Yeah.
Yes, I got it, I own it. Definitive language means that they will leave you alone. Does that make sense? So sure is one of those wishy-washy terms. I let my kids curse, which is probably weird, right? Where are you from?
I live in California.
Okay, if you said Texas, you probably would shoot me for that, because the Texans did. Anyone from Texas? You don't have to curse in Texas, are you?
I don't know what cares.
Okay, good. Where are you from in Texas?
Austin.
Oh yeah, you guys curse in your world. But if we're from Dallas, it's a whole other world. It's like being from Edmonton, okay? It's different than Whistler or Toronto. Now, I'm trying to connect that.
Edmonton.
But while you're so busy wanting to connect that, and we're so busy wanting to figure that out, something's happening that you don't realize. I have an alternative motive here that I'm showing you guys all use, and I want you to get this. Now, remember that thought, it's huge. So we were a second ago, why I let my kids curse. I'm totally cool with them saying like, they can say shit, they can say words like that. Because if my 5-year-old says holy shit, I know something's wrong. So we run to the other room. If she says holy poop, we don't know anything's wrong, right? I don't let them say like the C word, like complacent, or like the T word, like try, or maybe, or sort of, because those are deadly words. And if they grow up and say things like that, they'll never relate well with the right people. So could you help me right now?
Yes.
Will you jump up here real quick? Thank you, Aaron. Everybody give Aaron a round of applause. He's got two things going right now. He's got two things. He's got a gun in one hand to shoot me if I get off the wrong path, and he's also got the applause. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Okay, good. Where are you from again?
Canada, originally lived in California.
Nice. That's perfect. Double C. So did you come down the line or you came over?
Came from Denver.
Okay, very good. So how did you get from Canada to Denver? Denver, Canada? Denver. So you said you're from
Listen, I'm complicated, dude.
So you had a car tire pop?
Yes.
Okay, how many times?
At least twice. Twice
Okay,
at stand up.
2 times you had it. So can you help me describe this thing as a process?
To fix the tire.
No, but we're gonna act it out a little bit.
Okay.
So we're in a car, and it's
Yeah.
always, grab your freaking wheel, right? We're in the car, right? And we're going for a ride, right? And it's always the pop tire on the best day. It's the best day or the worst day? Was it a good day that it popped?
It was a great day that it popped.
Really?
Until it popped.
So, okay, what was going on?
Family reunion. And I was taking my.
How many of your family reunions a bad day? Okay, we're going to do healing for you later. I'll bring Sean back. Now, so you're driving your car, and you're like, oh, my family, and then the tire pops, and the first thing you say is what?
Shit.
Always say shit. It's the first thing, right? And then immediately, you do what?
Pull over to the side of the road.
We're over on the side of the road, just humor me, like pretend you're like,
Come over to the side.
Pretend
of the
you
road.
don't need to know what's going to happen next.
Okay.
Okay, just for 1 minute. Okay,
That's
got it?
hard. Yeah, but I'm trying.
I just tapped the, just tilt a little this way, get it out. Okay, good. Now we're back. Okay, good. So don't smile too much because you'll be happy when people like you. It releases drugs in your brain. You're drugging yourself right now. Neurotransmitter, serotonin. Yeah, and another one too. Talk to you about that later.
Okay.
So we're here. Then what we do is what? We push the brake because if you don't, what's going to happen?
The car's going to keep going. And
Okay,
that'll be
and then we
bad.
put it in what?
Park.
And then we say, damn it, and we open the what?
Car door.
And then we get out.
Look
and walk
around.
around. Yeah. Okay, so
Rear.
Canadians turn that way.
Right.
Okay, very good. And then what do we do?
Pop the trunk.
Okay.
Get the spare out. and get the, the thing that,
Just do it.
yeah. Okay.
And then we take off the what?
We take off the luggage.
I call AAA, by the way, guys. I don't do this shit. Okay? And then what happens is I take the tire and you put it where?
I put it back in the trunk.
And you take out
The spare.
okay, good. And you
Yeah.
put it on, plug nuts, let it down, go back in the car, go back to that.
Yeah.
You could probably teach someone else how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So do me a favor. So you understand that strategy. How many times have you done that in your life?
Twice.
Great. So why don't you very quickly give me your happiness strategy right now?
My happiness strategy?
Yeah, like detail, piece by piece, how you make yourself happy? Oh, you don't have one. Okay, so do me a favor. What I love right now is, in detail, give me your confidence strategy.
My confidence?
Confidence and competence. While you're at it, give me both.
No, I have the cheerleader in my brain. I turned the cheerleader on.
Okay, very good. So you have a strategy or you just have a guess and I hope it works?
That's what I do, and it seems to work.
Okay, good. So it's not really a plan, right?
It's not a plan.
Okay, so give me your maximize an event so I can go back and dominate strategy.
Don't have one.
How many of you recognize we know how to change a tire? You guys know how to do an Excel sheet, but you don't know what gets you to go to the gym in the morning. How many of you understand that? You know how to, don't know how to stop yourself from, like I don't know if any of you do this, like I teach my kids, they have to learn how to stop themselves from going to Starbucks, because if you don't make $50,000 a year, you have no business going there. Do you understand? And the reason why is at $7, $8 a coffee, that's bad money. Do you understand, everybody? You shouldn't go there. Take that money, give it a financial person. Great job. Okay, very good. Now, how many of you just learned something? We don't have strategies for very basic things. How do we fall in love? How do we get ourselves motivated? How do we learn? So I'm going to give you a learning strategy right now that can help you from this day forward. I'm also going to give you a captivating strategy at the same time. So the same strategy that can be used for learning has the ability to captivate other people. So I'm going to do something which you don't recognize right now. The first thing that I'm going to say, and see, Edmonton man still wants to figure out what the hell it's going to do with Edmonton. Okay?
I'm still trying to take a note.
You don't need to. That's the interesting thing. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm going to ask you to listen very carefully to what I say. First thing I want you to do, folks, is what?
Listen.
Now, something interesting is going to happen when I tell you this. You don't even have to write this down because you know it. I want you to listen for two very specific reasons. I have abnormal language patterns. I speak grammatically completely incorrect. I speak in a way that dramatically impacts the nervous system of another person. I don't mean like makes you nervous. I mean literally when I speak this way, it will actually impact you in a way that you don't need to take notes. You'll just go do what you need to do. And I want all of you to learn how to do it. The second reason is after an hour goes by, it's going to feel like 15 minutes. How many of you would love the ability to speak comfortably, randomly, or get to the point where people just want more of you? How many of you would love that? Let me explain what I mean by more of you. You become more valuable to the person. So I hate to say, you may get a raise, but I'm just going to make you more valuable. You guys cool with that? Raises? You guys, do we like those or no? I can't guarantee them, but they usually come when you become easier to deal with and more fun and more profitable. So, first thing I'm going to ask you to listen. Second thing I'm going to ask you to do, which most people never do when they learn something, is to pay attention to how what I say makes you feel. Now, most people never think about that because they're so busy writing notes. What you don't realize is while you're writing notes, most people don't know this, you're actually triggering off part of your brain. You're in writing mode. You're in writing down mode, which actually turns off a percentage of your ears and turns off a percentage of your overall experience. So unless it's absolutely necessary, I recommend when a guy like me is talking, do not write down that much. I'm not saying don't write down anything, but make certain what you're writing down seems important because your brain, if it only writes the important things, it will remember the importance of what it's writing down. So I'm going to ask you to listen very carefully to how what I say makes you feel. Now, why am I bringing up the feeling mechanism? I'm bringing it up because if you realize that your brain says, I'm only taking guys that have a very linear process, you have a problem with the person you work with. Does that make sense? Because there's nothing linear about the black job. Do you guys understand? So you need to learn that your need for it to go in a line, we have to suspend that for a few minutes so you can be more effective. How many of you would like to learn how to suspend that so you can deal with the crazy people? Okay? Being serious. I'm going to show you how to do it. The third thing I'm going to ask you to do is to get engaged. I know that we've been trained by the world to learn a very specific way. Somebody speaks, we listen, we wait our turn, we take it in, we go, good job, and we forget it 5 minutes later. We're like educational bulimics. Because how many of you remember French in school and you remembered it? Do you guys think languages? Yeah. See, for me, French in school was, I remember they taught us a couple of things. Like, I'm a high school kid. Look at the things they taught us. How to, I don't know what the French are up to. Is anyone French? Okay, help me with this. Tell me, maybe you can explain the culture. They explain how to get dinner, how to order a drink, and how to get a hotel room. To a bunch of high school kids. Is that what you guys do over there? How's the population? Okay, French Canadian's different. But am I correct? That's what they teach. It's like, I'd like a Coca-Cola, I'd like a glass of wine, let's go to dinner, and how do I get a hotel? So what's interesting is I remembered that stuff for the test, but then I could never do anything with it afterwards. We want to make certain this stuff has a lasting impact. So I'm going to show you how to set this up. So a lot of you are like, well, Michael, I haven't learned anything yet. But the funny thing is, I need to spend a little bit of time getting your brains where I need them to be, so when I do drop the information, it's like the Matrix, and it just goes right to where it needs to go. So I'm going to ask you to listen, pay attention to how what I say makes you feel, and number 3 is, I'd like you to get engaged, which means I want you to speak up. I want you to ask questions, and I want you to be involved. So if I ask a question, very simply, just shout out the answer, or just give me a yes, or sure, or go, screw yourself, whatever it is. Okay, I'm just kidding. But what's funny is, you might think that's odd, that makes her what? Laugh. Now, why do I want her to laugh? Because what? Peak emotional experience. Part of my delivery is we need to play with this in a way to get somebody's attention. So if you want to take a note, a very simple note is, our job as communicators, because guys, I really think it should be that you're not just operations, you're communicating the message of the company to the people to get it done. You're communicating garbled stuff that makes sense to one person to everybody. Did I say that clearly? Was that articulated correctly, or was that negative? You're taking a garbled thing, because I'm the garbler, I'm that garbler in my company. And I explain it, I live with my wife, and I explain her the garble, and I probably drive her nuts. And then she would articulate, now we brought Jason on to help as well, to articulate the message out to everybody. So one of the things that I want to show you is that in order to understand influence, I'm going to give you a couple of very, very slick examples so you can see it, to understand auto programs. Every person that comes into your contact with you has a set thing that they were going to do automatically. Our job as communicators and influencers, and you'll notice after a little bit of time, you're staring. How many of you are staring at me right now? Like a little more than normal, like you took your Adderall? Now what's interesting is, what if I told you that was my plan? What if I told you I designed 20 minutes of this presentation to show you what it feels like that I want you to get your people to where I'm at right now? You don't have to be me, but there's a system to be able to pull this off. And let me show you how this works, because I think it'll be super fun. I'm going to go old school right now and share with you a technique, because when I spoke in front of a group of CEOs a few years ago, they said, what is your magic skill set? And I said, one of the things that I'm really good at is getting people's attention. How many of you, what would be the benefit if you could have people's attention? Like, what would be the benefit? Does anybody know? Like, can you guys talk?
Alignment.
What?
Alignment. If everyone's paying attention and you say something, they get the same message.
Okay, they hear the same thing. Okay. So is your presentation about delivering the material, or is it first about getting their attention? Most people, you just want to what? Deliver the material. And the reason you want to deliver the material is you're excited about it, and you think they're excited. But here's what you're up against right now. You're up against who's Susie sleeping with? Does that make sense? What Johnny did last night, the mortgage payment, the fear of losing their job, the dog is dying, and we got a euthanasia person coming over later today. I'm telling you, if you got a company of a couple hundred people, someone's dog's going to die in the next 6 months. And that's bothering them, and it's going to mess up productivity. So we need to make certain to get our point across. So let me just show you a little technique that I believe will help all of you in a big way right now. So let's go old school. Who's got a business card? Does anybody have one? I know they don't make them anymore. Does anybody have one? You got a business card? Can I see it real quick? Can you come up here? I'm going to show you something really cool, everybody. It's like, I get to be David Copperfield for a minute. And you can take notes on this. This all.
Notes this time.
Okay. Can you come up here real quick? What's your name?
Alton.
Where are you from? Canada?
Los Angeles.
Okay, Los Angeles, Canada. Very good. So, how often do you give these out?
Never.
Okay, never. How old are you?
28.
Surprised you have all this. Okay, do you have a phone?
Not on me right now.
Could you?
Yes.
This is how they answer these questions. I asked, do you have a phone? He's like, yeah, to be very specific, didn't he? Is that what I was asking? What was I asking? Do you have a phone? What did he tell me? All the extra detail. Nothing personal, but I'm going to show you how to work with me a little bit better to make me like you even more. Because if I like you more, what happens? Just come here. Just stand right there. I won't touch you guys. Now watch his face. I'm going to do two things with him real quick. See his face? Now if we talk right here, you guys tell me which one he likes better. Which one's more comfortable? I know which one it is. This is a little more comfortable, isn't it?
I think so.
So he doesn't see the reaction. See his face? Does everybody see it?
Yeah.
That's a frown. This is a what? Smile. it's 59, it's 51, 49, anything. Everybody's got a side of their body where instantly they're more receptive. What would be the benefit of knowing that? Every single human. Where you sleep on your bed probably impacts your relationship. You're going through some problems right now, switch to the other side of the bed. Start there before you call the therapist. Now, the reason I'm saying that is if I'm going to talk to you, likes it, doesn't. Is that a procedure? First thing to do when talking to another person is find out which ear and eye they're more receptive under. How many of you think you could add that to your life? Anybody think that's smart?
Sure.
Okay, is that powerful? Yeah. Okay. Sitting down in a coffee shop. How many of you have one-on-ones with your person? Okay, I'm talking about myself right now. Should we tell them we're doing this?
No.
This is secret. Now, number two, you're holding this. Is this your good side?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to teach the whole thing. Yes and no. Let's get one more time. Do it again.
Yes.
And
No.
okay, very good. So we got it. Now, he's not going to recognize what we're doing right now, but I'm going to share with you something, and I'm going to show you how the technique works, and how all of you can do this from this day forward. Number one, you do not want to do this. If anyone's single, you might want to do this tonight. But if you guys aren't, okay, I don't recommend you do this. This is for me to give you what's called an extreme example. What's an extreme example? Does anybody know before you think that I actually do this? What's an extreme example?
Something you wouldn't do, but it illustrates the point so you don't forget it.
Dude, I'll bring you everywhere. You're fantastic. Great. I called her dude. I shouldn't do that, right?
Totally, yeah.
Okay, very good. So if I ask you for a business card, can I have it? Okay. Now what happens is when he gives me a business card, it's no different than giving a presentation. It's going to go into one ear and out the other. And it sounded like a good thing. Where's this card going to go? Because how many of you ever collected a card before? Where does it go? Steve, where does it go? Yeah, it goes like hopping, right? It goes like gone, right? Not around anymore. Am I correct? Right. So it goes in my pocket, and when's the next time I see it? The next time I check Facebook and realize when did I wear that blazer last, and I can wear it again, right? I see it 6 months to a year later. Ladies, you got seasonal purses. My wife explained to me, is that true? You have seasonal purses? Sure. You like my life. Okay. Now what's interesting is not my life with the purses, but my life. Okay. Now what's interesting is I take this card and it winds up nowhere. But let me ask you for one more time. Can I have your card? Okay. And I just maybe like throw it away. This is yours, right? This is where I feel like David Copperfield right now. See your card, see your card, see your card. Pick a number, pick a number. You got a number?
Yes.
I'm just talking to the kid. Now, ask me for my card.
Can I have your business card?
Absolutely. And if I give it to you, what's going to happen? Nothing. Autopilot. Autopilot. They show up for a meeting. This is why meeting sucks is so important, because everybody does shitty meetings. Am I correct? It's so important because everybody has an autopilot of what a meeting is. Now, ask me one more time. Now, will you play along?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Ask me for my card.
Can I have your card?
Absolutely. Under one condition.
What's that?
Now, what most people can't see right now, and you can see from up there, his pupils immediately got enormous. His hand is still sitting there, because you see it moving, it wants the card. Like, he doesn't know what to do. So I'll give it to you one more time. Ask me one more time.
Can I have your card?
Absolutely. Under one condition.
What is that?
I changed the program. Look at the hand. Everybody getting this?
Yeah.
This is what your meetings need to become. This is what your communications need to become. He's still waiting. Ambiguity just kicked in. Does anybody know what that means? It's a fancy word. What does ambiguity mean?
Uncertainty.
What's up?
Uncertainty.
Uncertain. What's that? We've no idea. He has no program. Who's in charge at this moment? I am. One condition. Now watch this. On this card is my name and phone number. Will you commit? That's an interesting word. What's the word, folks?
Yeah.
How many of you recognize that word carries a lot of guilt with it, doesn't it? It doesn't matter, Irish, Jewish, Catholic, guilt, it works good, right? Especially in business. Will you commit that next time you see your phone, now watch what I'm about to do? What kind of phone do you have?
MTC.
What is that?
Amazing.
I'm a Apple guy. We'll work on that. That's called flirting. What's that called, folks? You don't think why am I flirting with him? But guys can flirt. We can all flirt. It's messing around with somebody. Now, why do I want to mess around? Why do I want to create a battle? Look, you got a Samsung or something? What is it, a Samsung thing?
MTC.
I don't know what the hell it is, but I'm an iPhone guy. We can battle about something. But my phone is there. Will you commit the next time you're in front of your phone, you send me a message?
Yes.
Will you do that? Right? My question, how bad do you want this right now?
I think I'm over it now.
But you do want it. It's his card. He wants his card. Now, what's interesting is, let's break this down for a second, my process friends. My outcome right there was not to give him the card. My outcome is to get his what, folks? His attention. How important is it to get another human being's attention in a very distracted world? It's, what's that? It's necessary. Pickle's a really good word. Thank you, my friend. Can I have this or do you want to keep it?
You can have it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Glad to see you. Thank you very much. Now, let's talk about what just went down. Let's break down a process. Can you guys help me? Because I'm not a process guy. I'm just the guy that does crazy shit and it works really, really well. So what happened is, I had an intention when I first met him. The first thing I wanted to do is to get his what, folks? Attention. How many of you recognize that most of us walk into situations where communicating with people that we never take 2 seconds to get their what? Let me show you how simple it is to get a group of people's attention. So when you start a meeting, what are most of the things we start with? And I'm going to give you a few words. Now, this isn't just meetings, so if you don't do meetings, if you sit with one person, I'm going to recommend you do. Am I sitting by the right ear? And don't doubt yourself the whole time. Just think about that. I'm giving you a couple strategies. Number 2 thing we do is we want to get their attention. So how do we get the person's attention? What's something we can do? Like, how do most people start a meeting or a conversation? How do most people start? Who can give me just a shot at this? You guys do this stuff 24/7. How do most people start? What are the first few words out of your mouth, Mr. Hoffman?
How you doing today?
How you doing today? That is an autopilot question, correct? What is that going to trigger?
Nothing.
The same thing we always get. Now, I'm going to do something very, very different right now that I know will be able to help you, and I only have done this to make tens of millions of dollars in sales with a very small company of 4 people. Does that make sense? So if you guys are interested, here's what it is. I would say something like this. Now, do what you want, folks, with your day, and I'll say this very simple word. Look. What happens when you say look?
I'm trying to figure out where to go.
What's the word, folks?
Look.
Now, it doesn't have to be that weird. I can say, look. There's a few things I want to share with you. Here's another word. Listen. What's the word? Listen. Now, you probably say these things. I do it strategically. You do it randomly. Now, you're calling me the lab job. But I'm asking you to be the communicator and to do the message. So one of the things I'd say, look, listen, I got a few things to share with you. Now, if you remember what I did earlier to prep the meeting with you guys, I told you to listen to what I say, pay attention to how what I say makes you feel, and get engaged. And at that moment, we overload the nervous system of another person. Now, I've been studying one of the best in the world at a little something called NLP. If you don't know what it is, it's the ability to use words to affect another human being's nervous system. I used to say I'm one of the top 10. I'm like the best. There's nobody better than me at this shit. I'm better than one of the guys that invented this stuff. I'm so good at this that I'm obsessive about it, and I want it to get even better. So when people could do things in a minute, I want to do it in 15 seconds. I say that very modestly as I share that with you right now. So instead, if I want to get my point across to Matt, my first thing I want to do is I want to say, Matt, look, does that insult you when I do that?
No.
What does it make you do?
Look.
Isn't that what we want people to do? Look, listen, we've got some things that I know that we can do. Now, what's fascinating about it is our job as communicators is to do this. And then I'll help you guys out with a couple things is to get their attention. And number 2 is to make them aware. Now, what we have to do is we have to break their pathways that they currently have. People have an automatic pathway that they're currently in. So we need to make people aware of some very, very basic things that they don't recognize that are going on. So we want to take people down a rabbit hole. Now, why do we want to take them down a new rabbit hole than they were? If we get straight to the point, what happens when you get straight to the point is there's a linear approach to solving an emotional problem. So what I typically do is I want to get buy-in from a room of people or a group. So let me ask you guys, so I don't go down the wrong tangent with this. How many of you do more one-on-ones versus group? More one-on-ones than group? Like, show me one-on-ones, raise your hand. Okay, how many of you do at least 3 or more people? Okay, very good. So how many of you do like more than 20? Okay, same type of thing. So what we're going to do is, our job is to get their attention, to make them aware of what's going on. But I believe this is where we cause a problem in our presentations is we don't build up desire for people actually doing something different. So who could give me an example of an agenda that you want to get across for another person? Does anybody have an agenda that you're currently working on? I'd love to solve an immediate problem, an immediate need for anybody here in this room. Who has an agenda of something that you need to get across to a group of people? Does anybody have one? Or all of you got everything set and perfect and we're just hanging out for the weekend in Scottsdale? Okay. Who's got an agenda they want to pull? Yes, sir.
I can't exactly identify it, but I was actually going to name it when you first started. That one thing that was brought up yesterday was trying to basically do exception with CEOs, like get them to think the thing that will do the thing.
You want to get a thought in their head?
And make them think
You
it's
want
their
to try to do
idea.
that?
And make them think it's their idea.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to do that. So we need to get, okay, good. Does anybody else want that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm really good at that. He wants that from me.
And then they need focus. That they start thinking, oh, we need to do less things and be more focused.
Fantastic. So let me hear your approach. Then I'm going to give you my approach, and you can walk out of here and you can either use yours still, which currently isn't working, or I can give you one that's really, really cool, subtle, and all of you can change the name of the company and be able to insert your name, your company, and your crazy person. Got it?
Yeah.
Hit it.
My approach has been, my CEO got really excited about books.
CEOs get excited?
Yeah, he's super excited about books, and there was one he was really excited about. I was like, man, so we can really implement this? You and I should do like a book club.
Oh my God. Let's go.
We should do a book club, and you and I read it, and we compile all the notes together, and then we like figure out the best ways to implement it. He's like, yeah, it's great. So we did that for one book, and then I've been trying to strategically place books that I think that he would like based off some other thing that he said to get us to like.
So what's your strategy for getting him to do that? Do you have
The one
attention?
thing I utilized was like his idea was this thing, so I was like, Cameron and all these other people in this group really like this book, and so he's pretty persuaded by what other people think like that. So he was like, "Oh, cool!" Like, so that book. So now we're reading that book, and he's really stoked about it now.
Very good. So it did work.
Yeah, it worked. The focus thing though. So that book is more kind of like our relationship and organizational type stuff. But the getting to a book where it's really going to get him to like be interested in focus.
You want to make an unfocused person read a book about focus.
Well, here's the interesting thing that he did. If he thinks it's his idea and he's excited about it for a while, then yeah.
So be
Okay.
focused on reading the book first.
He actually started saying, yeah, he who chases two rabbits catches neither. And I was like, man, I love that saying. So I keep saying, God, I love
What
that
is your
saying.
outcome for this conversation? 'Cause I will give you verbatim what to say. What is your outcome?
I want him to be really, really stoked about focusing on less things.
Do you want him really stoked, or do you want him to focus on less things?
Focus on less things.
But you said you want him really stoked.
Well, because that seems like that's what he ends up doing, that's what he's stoked about.
Got it. Okay. So, one
It's not like a logical thing. It's not like, oh, we should be more focused because of this thing. It's because it's like emotionally he's really involved in like that somehow focus is a valuable thing for him.
got it.
And he
So,
likes-
does he agree that focus is already great? You're explaining this like a CEO.
I mean, yeah, on like an idea level, but like his behavior is totally not aligned with that.
Very good. So you want to change his behavior. Okay. Why do we want to change it?
Because us being the lack of focus in some ways,
It's affecting the bottom line.
yeah, it really does. It affects the bottom line.
Are we talking bottom line?
We're talking bottom line, progress, growth. But yeah, overall business health.
Is the company growing as well as it should?
No.
Could the company grow better?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you feel the element is? Do you feel like it's really focused?
Yeah, it feels like an 80-20 rule. Like we're spending this time on too much shit that really doesn't do anything.
Okay, so I wouldn't recommend to do this, and I'm not certain this will work today, but I'll just throw this by you and maybe we can make it work. And I'm going to throw this by you guys and tell me if we're getting it on. And Cameron loves this one, I do it all the time. Have you noticed how much the world has changed in the last, 5-7 years? How many of you have noticed that? Have you noticed that? The world has changed dramatically? And if you have asked somebody a question, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they would have known the answer. But nowadays, what is the first reaction people do? What do? They check on their phone. And do they just check the answer, or do they also check their email and everything else at the same time, and their Facebook and their Instagram, correct? If you've noticed recently, where most productivity goes down in most companies, it's their phone. And the reason a lot of times, am I correct about this? Because what do employees do? What are our staff doing on a regular basis? What are they doing? They're checking Tinder, they're checking Facebook, right? Steve, watch that stuff, right? Okay, they're checking Facebook, they're checking everything else. And you know what that productivity does? It destroys the bottom line. So if there's any way that we can be more effective and have an edge in this marketplace is to really harness the ability to focus. Now I know we're up against most of the world. Now this person's a very competitive person, aren't they?
Very good.
I don't know if we're going to be the first person to be able to do it or the first company to pull this off. But I want to see if we can do this. I know it's a creative idea and you're the creative guy, but I just want to think about it. could we find a way to do our company differently than other people? Because he or she who figures out how to focus the masses is going to be what Facebook is doing right now. Because Facebook has people's focus. We've got to find a way to get that back. So I'm going to search out a couple of books on this subject. Are you on board for helping us do this? You see what I'm doing right now? What am I doing? You're
You
launching.
only, I mean, you presented it as like this broad thing that everyone is going through, the whole world is going through versus him or our company or our culture.
So when you watch a movie or a book, it always starts broad.
It's a bigger vision. You sold me on a bigger vision.
Yeah, because your little vision isn't working. Am I correct?
Yeah.
You're a little approachable. I just wanted to read the script. It's not going to do it. Are we dealing with a competitive person? Competitive people need a battle, don't they? So we need to say, like, look, I don't know if we're going to be the first people to be able to pull this off. But Mark Zuckerberg has got us on this one. He's got focus, and he's using it against us. So if we could find a way to focus, do you imagine the volume that we could do in business if we could figure that out? So do you recommend we start reading books? Like, what do you recommend? Do we read books on focus? Do we have focus meetings? What should we do? And what happens when you ask that question to a CEO? What do they always ask you?
Go figure it out.
What do they say? What do they say? So you want me to come up with some solutions? I will. This is a little something that I do at the end of my meetings. I taught this at one of Allison's events the other day, and this is really, really powerful. I say this at the end of meetings. How would you like to proceed from here? So if you guys start asking that question, what is every CEO going to do? They all say the same thing. Hey, you ask me, how would you like to proceed from here?
What do you think we should do?
I'm going to put it right back on you. How many of you recommend that you should end your meetings with, how would you like to proceed from here? Everyone's going to say, what are they going to say? What do you think? Give me a few minutes, I'll come up with a solution. Are you okay to go with that? So what you need to do is to give him the ball and tell him to throw it back to you. So draw a big picture, the whole thing about focus. And I don't know if we can be the first people to do it. Now, why are we saying that? You know this person well, what would that do to them? What would it
Make
do?
it very exciting.
Yeah, competitive. I don't know if they can pull this off. I'm not certain they can do it. You tell me what you're thinking. I'll see if we can pull this off. It's completely up to you. Now, if we can pull it off, how would you like to start? I got a few ideas, but how would you like to start? Because if we can figure out this focus, then we can change the whole company and the bottom line. Boom. Got it? What is the difference between my approach? Does everybody understand the strategy of that? What was the approach? Are you guys enjoying this? Okay, what'd you learn right there?
I think number one, really.
So you got to put it in a process. Yes, number one. I came here so I could get a process to my shit. Go ahead. Number one is what?
Identifying what
Number
is
one, get his attention.
Get his attention.
You start with a look.
Uh,
I just got back from this meeting, and I recognize an interesting thing in a market that we may not be penetrating. They like penetrate. Okay, got it? Now, what's funny about that word is that word has emotion in it, doesn't it? The word's powerful. Penetrating the market. Do you understand it's powerful? It's versus we can expand our market. We can penetrate into a new market. Got it? We're speaking good?
Yeah.
So first thing is get their what?
Get their attention.
Attention. Draw the big what?
Vision.
Big picture. Vision is first thing, correct? Draw the big vision of what we could do. Then we narrow it down. Now, who's responsible for that vision? Them. And what's the first thing they do when they're given more work? Who do they give it to? Us. Who's in control? You are. You see the buy-in? Does everybody get the strategy? How many think you can pull this one off? Are you going to do this also?
Yeah.
Do you got one of these to do?
No.
Okay.
Not right now, but I'm
Just
thinking.
find somebody to do this to them. Now, very good. So let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. What are we learning so far? I don't know how much time. What are we learning? And then I have 3 more things to do. What are we learning so far? Anybody know? What's that? 12 minutes? Okay, good. 12 minutes, am I getting my cane? Okay. What are we learning so far? Who can tell me? I know it's hard. You want to look at your notes.
How do you get attention?
Number 2, make people aware of things they didn't notice already. I'll teach you guys how to get people to agree with you very quickly. Teach you a little technique that's simple. I can get all of you to agree and say yes to certain things, and it's so simple by communicating a little differently than most people. Now, we've all heard of pacing before, and this should be interesting. You write this one down, Cameron. You'll like this. Okay? Now, PPP. It's like a little kid. PPP. Now, here's the way this works, and then I'll draw a little deal for you guys, help you out a little bit. So, What's something you want to get across to another person to influence them to do? Anybody have anything they want to do outside of that one? Just a little subtle thing. You guys have no one to influence. Okay. So we don't speak. Jim,
Yes.
what do you guys do?
We make emblems, embellishments, and kind of branding.
Sounds fantastic. Who do you talk to during the day?
Also my plant managers.
Plant managers. Okay, great. Do you want them on your team?
Yes.
Okay. What are some of the things you tell them to do?
Working with the California plant manager on the build out of the building.
Would you like them to feel more successful about what they do, feel awesome, and be motivated?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Do they naturally feel that way?
No.
Our job is to implant thoughts in other people's heads and do the inception thing you spoke about. So one way is you can say, you're going to do great on this meeting, and I know you got this. Or you can say to them very quickly, I have a few things that I want to go over with you. Or we can get them on our same page. So what I typically do is I use 3 things that are true, and the 4th becomes automatically true. Now, there's a little equation you guys will like called 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. And all of you guys are a little confused right now. How could 1 plus 1 plus 1, which typically is 3, equal 4? And you got a pen out ready to roll on this. Here's what it is. When 3 things are true, the 4th automatically becomes true for whatever reason. I have no idea. Like if I gave you a stock tip right now, and whether you bought it or not, it went up tomorrow 100%. How many of you would be all over listening to the next thing I said? But then I say, when you leave here, be careful going right out of onto Camelback, because there'll be a car wreck about the time you leave. You walk out of here and there's a car wreck. How many of you would be like, whoa, that's kind of weird? And the next day I say, Disney stock is going to be cut in half tomorrow. And literally it's cut in half tomorrow. No matter what I recommend after that, you're going to listen to me. The unconscious mind is more powerful than the conscious mind any day of the week. And all of us run on auto programs. So here's the way I do this technique. If I want Jim to agree with me, I could say, Jim, you need this. And his COO brain is going to go, I'll agree, but I don't agree with him because I don't know what he's talking about. But if I said this, you know, Jim, as you're sitting there and you're listening to me and I've covered a few things, you're beginning to realize this makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
And the more you listen and the more you pay attention, the more you realize you need this now.
Yes.
He just agreed to nothing. He just agreed to nothing. And some of you are like, well, what's the point of that? Well, with your kids with their homework. Okay, start there. Or yourself. If you want somebody to get buy-in, one of the first things you can do is start pointing out obvious things. You know, as you're sitting there right now and I'm about to get started with this meeting, the brain is like, yeah, I am sitting here. And we are about to get started with this meeting. And we're leaking drugs in people's brains. And some of you are thinking, well, where would I use this? Here's the answer. Everywhere. And you can change it up each time. You know, as you're sitting there and you got the water in front of you and you've been looking at me a little while, your brain just, whether you realize it or not, your brain was just checking that all out, wasn't it? Your brain unconsciously was going, there's water? I'm here? He's talking? And the next thing I say, you're automatically in yes mode. So you know, as you're sitting there and you're looking at me and I've covered a few things, some you're getting, some you're not, correct? You're going to start to realize that a lot of the stuff that I'm saying has some validity in certain areas of your life. And the more you listen and the more you pay attention, you'll know you need this. Let me show you how we do this. And it's very simple. I got one last thing to cover with you, and I have 7 minutes. Am I correct, Cameron? Yeah. Was that exactly 7 minutes? That would have been so cool for us.
8 minutes.
Okay, I was off by 1. You know what happens when you're off by 1 and you're in front of the room? What's fascinating is I just did it again. So let me just subtly hand this to you right now. The reason I brought up the Edmonton earlier thing is it's out of the box and it's abnormal. The reason I want to do out of the box abnormal is I want you to think differently than you normally do. The point of all of this, everything is associated with making the changes we need to make. So what I'm going to share with you right now, and we'll answer questions if you guys want afterwards, I think this is going to sum up pretty much everything, and finally figured out when I was putting my book together what the purpose was, because I was doing the typical CEO thing, and I think this will help all of you have a really good understanding. I wanted to do everything, and I wanted to cover everything. Even though I worked with Cameron, and he explained to me you can have 90 books, I wanted to have one be-all, do-all, end-all. Like all of us want to solve one thing. And what's interesting is part of your job is to create clarity in the company and create direction. Am I correct? Clarity, direction, competency, and different types of things. So as I describe this to you right now, I think this will be a very important piece of the puzzle, and I can answer afterwards what we're up against to make change. Do you feel any burden in you that the company has to be bigger in the next 12 months? Raise your hand if you feel any burden. That needs to be bigger, run better, be more effective. Your job actually requires you to be able to do that. the challenge that you're up against, and this is all the truth. So notice, I'm doing the same technique right now. I'm sharing a truth with the collective. Am I correct? I got most of you on board. Now, what's that word I just said there? Now, what's the word? You may want to write that one down too, and you can always just add those in the middle of any sentence. Now. It always makes you pay attention when? Now. So watch this, and this is interesting. So if you take a look at your life and you take a look at what you're currently dealing with, creating the change is the same as creating the change in your life. And I recognized this recently that every one of you is in a place in your life where you're either doing better or worse than you were before, but more importantly, you're heading in a pretty good direction. You're around somebody pretty good because they believe in you enough to spend the money to get you here, okay? And if you paid your own way, that's very interesting. You I gotta find that guy's influence class. But they paid for you guys to be here, and they believe in you enough. So odds are you have a direction you want to go, and you have no interest in going backwards. How many of you agree you have no interest in going backwards? Personally and professionally. So what happens in our lives is you get to another level. I want you to think of this in two planes right now, personally and professionally. You started the second you said, I'm going to take this job, I'll be part of this company. You said, I'm never going back, and you built a wall behind you. No different than when you go to college or anything, you can't be unsmart again. So you're now I will never go back. So instantly, when you finally get yourself in better shape or you do something, you create this box for yourself. And in front of you, you have this vision of this goal. If you have a vivid vision, you're better off. And if you actually read the book and you're doing it with a company, it's fantastic. And in front of you, you have a vision of where it is that you're headed. You have things that you want. Now, what most people don't recognize is a vision of what you want to do with your company is a want. No different than getting in better shape, having balance, or seeing yourself use one of the tools that I shared. How many of you are willing to use at least one thing I shared? Just one. You guys use one. Don't use 10, one. All I want you to do is use the look technique on somebody today and go, holy crap, it worked. And if you're interested after that, use a listen technique. So in front of you is what you want, and behind you is I'll never go back again. So it's like back and forth. Back and forth. And this is the company. And this is the same thing that the CEO is dealing with. Like, I never want to go back there again, and this is what I want. But what they don't recognize before you showed up, and they actually asked you to help them with it, is they're lowering their shoulder on a regular basis and running straight into the wall. Am I correct? I want that. I want that. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? We got to push sales. I want that shit. Do you guys understand? But you also do that with, I want a six-pack abs. Am I correct? I want a better sex life. Hit the wall. Okay? And you run to the wall. And what's funny is that's your company. That is your company and your freaking life. You're running to the wall. And then to the right of you, in an individual, it would be called your identity. How you see you. In a company, it's our culture. And the importance of this. And here's what's interesting is, I see me as blank, but I want that. So what happens is every night you go to bed, and this is so urgent. You want to change your life. You're working on some shit in your life right now. You really pay attention to what I said. I covered this with Success Magazine. I had 3,000 people, couldn't hear a pin drop when I explained this little concept to them. You got this wall of what you don't want, what you do want, and how you see yourself. And every night you go to bed and go, I'm going to make it different tomorrow. Really could be different. I know I can get that. And you write your script of who you are, and you put it on your nightstand. And you wake up in the morning, the first question you ask is, who am I today? I could be anybody I want. But who was I yesterday? And you grab the damn script. And you pick it up, and you act out what you did yesterday. And let me tell you all about your company right now. I've seen this in my company. I've had the chance to work with enough companies to understand this very subtle thing. Even if you sit on your ass between you and the owner of your company, you're going to wind up guaranteed in at least the same place you were last year, give or take 10%. How many of you have noticed that? You always wind up at about the same damn place. So if you take a 10-year period, you're healthy about the same amount of time. I watch real estate do this, that people will make about the same amount of money in about a 10-year period. In a year, you could sit on your ass, your company, and because of a little something I'm going to share with you in just a second, that every one of you has to change, and you have to change as quick as possible, you're going to wind up in the same place at the end of the year automatically because of something automatic that's built into all of you. So if you have 9 months sit on your ass, nobody does anything, you guys all take a break, you guys will figure out a plan in the last 90 days of the year to fix it. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Like, let's say a little low-end sales, and then we had a few high-end sales. And then some years we have all high-end sales and no low-end sales. You watch this, like, companies that have McDonald's as a client, and McDonald's like, well, we don't have all the little guys anymore, but we got McDonald's. And then they lose McDonald's, and they get a whole bunch of little guys. And they always make $11,752,000,000 a year, or whatever it is. They always make the same amount. So in your life, you're guaranteed to be who it is you are. The other thing is how you connect with other people. Now I want to be really clear with this. What you don't want, what you do want, your identity, and how you connect with others. See, what's interesting is your company and your life connect in the marketplace as well as your personal life with how you see yourself. So how Michael sees myself is I'm the guy that doesn't want that, but I'm the guy that wants that, and I'm known as the guy that wants that, not the guy that has that, but the guy that wants that. And your company is known as the company that wants that, that's capable of that. So every day you wake up and you be the person that wants what it is you want. You don't actually have it, but you want it. How many of you can relate to what I'm saying in this very strange way?
Yes.
You build a box that controls a very specific thing, your average. Your average is your company. Your average is your life. You are dominated by your average. I even have a chapter in the book called Your Average, which will piss off everybody. But you are average. You're not personally average. Your average communication is your company. Your average influence is your company. Your average is who it is that you are. So when you hear me, your average listening ability is your freaking company and your life. So as soon as you change your average, we can start doing a little something instead of wanting. We can do a little something called realizing. The secret to this event, not my presentation, the event as a whole, is about understanding that it's a glass wall and having what you want for the company, the vacations, the chill boss, everything cool, them to go away and them to retire off the money. How many of you would love that day? We're like, I'm not going to work anymore. Do you mind just taking over the damn thing? And there's enough money in the funds that you set up that you don't have to work one day. How many of you would love that? How many of you would love to get to that point? Maybe you don't want that. How many of you would love to say, I did that for them? Our job, and I'm talking to Jason and I right now for our company, is to change what our average is on a regular basis, our average way of looking at things. Because this glass wall that's in front of you right now, you're tricking yourself thinking you're getting what you want. We need to get over that wall. And the other side of the wall is what it is that you want. Now what's interesting is I hate to warn you in advance, there's another box on the other side of the wall. But this is the coolest part about it, and this is where I'm going to use a very cool metaphor to help all of you out. The only way over the wall is very simple. You've got to grow. You've got to grow who you are. You've got to grow your skills. You can't be who you are now and be the company that you want to be. It's not that you're not good enough. You're all good enough. I need you to be all of you. Like I know, like you had Sean in here before. How many of you met Sean? I remember, did they meet Sean? Some of them met Sean. Little guy Sean. What's interesting is, I remember him and I talking about this the other day, and a guy said to me, he goes, Michael, how tall are you? And I'm 6'6". And he goes, why don't you try acting like it? And I was mad, but I understood what he meant. I play my company as a guy that's maybe 6'1". I got 5 more inches to grow. The second I grow my influence, my confidence, my competence, my desire to learn, like you can't have that problem anymore 30 days from now. We gotta solve that shit. You have to become a master of getting your point across, and then we're gonna become a master of what you do with the extra money. Does that make sense? What you do with your extra free time, how you deal with the new people you hired. Does that make sense? So our job is to grow, either build a ladder or get over the damn wall. But here's what's on the other side of the wall. Another box. But behind you is another wall called what you don't want, going back where you were. And your old want, you're living in it now. I need all of you in this room to really own something very quickly. You can sneeze. Okay? That was impressive. You can sneeze. Now, what's interesting is all of us have this ability. I'm just going to challenge all of you to understand that your company is controlled by the average of your culture. Your company is controlled by your average of your communication and the average of your thinking and your average of how much you think you know. If you're already great, you've got it all figured out already, company's as big as it can be right now. As soon as you own the fact that you're not as good as you can be and there's more inside of you, it's a tough fucking pill to swallow. But as soon as you recognize that you can be more, that person, that man or woman who runs your company, they're going to have the courage to grow as well. So your average is your company. Your average culture, your average ideas, your average of what's going on. I had that whole conversation to just share this with you. You want to change your average? Go use one of these techniques. Make that your new average. You want to change your average? The next meeting you have, look, listen, throw it out there. Call me and ask me, I'll give you 5 more you can say. Here, use that word. Decide to be somebody that can really bring it to the table. Instead of pointing fingers, I realize you recognize that you need to grow. So enough said. Change your average. Anything else you want me to cover? That's good. Thank you very much. That was good. Any questions for Michael on any of this?
to the PPP.
Oh, yeah. And I do that on purpose. Let me explain.
Waiting for it?
Well, there's that, but yes. Do you realize one of the greatest things you want to do is make people want things? This is where Joel had a conversation with me recently. He said, you didn't give them what the third thing is. I remember listening to a Tony Robbins audio back in the day. He's like, I have 5 things to cover with you. 100 million copies sold, never covers the 5 things. Okay? PPP. Pace, pace, pace. What is pacing? Bringing up the obvious. You can do it a bunch of. Have you noticed how distracted people are in the world today? That's pace. And it's funny, I was driving my car the other day, I'm sure you've had this too, where like you look to your right and somebody's on their phone. Who's freaking driving? And then I realized I got my phone in hand. Have you noticed we have to change this? Now, if I would have just said, we need to change this, he's like, I'm already busy enough. But when you pay somebody and get what's called a global agreement, what kind of agreement? Global. What's global? Have you ever noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed before, Canadians typically are happier. How many of you have noticed that? It's a global, am I correct? And even if I'm fighting and playing hockey and then they grab a beer afterwards, they're still fun guys to be with, right, Edmonton? Okay? Makes sense? And what I did with him is I created an anchor. It's a whole other story. Does that answer your question? Over here. Anyone else? Yes.
So some of us work in completely virtual environments, so very little face-to-face interaction. It's conference
Are they
calls.
still human beings?
Yes,
Still
but
works.
what are in a phone or virtual world or any terms?
One of the classes he
more or less
wants me to teach is, Michael, teach how you did $25 million over a phone call on instantteleSeminar.com in the last 10 years. That's one of the courses he wants me to teach. So give me the scenario and I'll show you how to do it.
All right, so
Conference call line? Or Zoom?
Yep.
The reason I have a problem, I know you got a lot of you guys do Zoom, I do conference call lines because I'm very auditory, but if you're good, like on video, go for it. I'm a auditory guy, like I'm all voice. Are we on the phone or are we visual?
We're just on the phone.
Dude, totally cool. Go ahead.
All right, so we've got, say, weekly planning meeting on Monday with my entire team. This is what we're going to accomplish this week, and here's what everyone needs to get done. But getting people...
Do they like being talked to like that?
Probably not.
Do you have general in front of your name?
No.
You know, it took him a couple minutes. Jim's a little slower. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I like the look this part.
That I did?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The look.
Everything, every subtlety is important. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just basically, it's Monday morning. These are the 5 most important things we have to get done.
What do we all know about Monday mornings? Should we pretend it's not what it is, or what should we do on Monday morning? Where do most people have Monday morning?
Sunday.
So here's what I would do. Hey guys, I know it's Monday morning. You're able to motivate people, right?
Yep.
Hey guys, I know it's Monday morning. Probably the last thing you want to do is get back to work, but obviously you know we have to. Is that true?
Yeah.
If you had a fun weekend, I'm not saying it's over, but that's in your mind, and now it's time to get to work. So what I was hoping we could do is, as we're on the phone and we're listening right now, one of the things I'm going to recommend we do is this. Now, one thing I would do, are these cool people? Are they fun? What kind of people are they?
Medium fun.
What does medium fun mean?
Some are fun, some are not.
Do we need to make them fun?
You can make them fun.
Would you like to make them fun?
It's
Do
challenging.
people love to be part of something?
Yes.
Could they help with that meeting?
Yes.
Do you let them?
Sometimes.
Can Julie do roll call next week?
Yes.
What would happen if Julie does roll call? Do you have a Julie?
Oh, Tracy.
Okay, can Tracy do roll call? With an I or Y?
With an eye, it really bugs me.
Okay. You got a funny eye? Let's go to therapy. So she bugs you?
Yeah, you spelled her name wrong.
Okay, so ask me real quick. Do you want to cover this? Is it okay?
Yeah.
We have 10 more minutes.
We have
That's
10
fine. I can even do it in 3 if you want.
No, we want to do questions.
Okay, good.
Do a couple more questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so just,
How do you want me to handle this? What do you want me to see happen?
I want the entire team to be engaged and to take ownership of my vision or objectives to get
Is
done.
that your outcome currently?
Most of the time, yeah, but I'd like for them to take a little So it's just, some.
So how would you know that they're taking ownership?
That's what are the tells.
What that?
I was gonna ask what the tells are.
Yeah, how would you know?
How would I know? I mean, it's all pretty measurable by the end of the week.
So what do you need to make yourself feel comfortable?
Well, I mean, I feel
You need them to speak or act?
I need them to act.
Very good. Okay, and what kind of people, what do they do for work?
It's all technologists and project managers.
Very good. So they're all project managers and they're all involved with projects. So walk me through the meeting. Hey guys, here's our objectives for the week, and here's what we know we need to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your strategies you've used to motivate them up till now?
A lot of times, they get excited when they understand things better in terms of what are the business goals behind this, why are we doing this, why are we
So they want to know the why?
They do want to know the why, or at least when they know the why, they're a lot more motivated because they actually feel like they're doing something for their customers that they can appreciate, not just something they're being told to do.
So they understand why we're doing this? Do you get bored of telling them that?
Occasionally.
Okay. You can't get bored. Because if you get bored, they get bored. So what are you doing to motivate you?
Motivate me?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
So what's happening is you're walking in as a guy on morphine into an event, correct? And you're walking in like, hey guys, shit, I gotta do this. And have you ever just said like, the last thing in the world I want to do is remind you guys how to do your job that you already know how to do well. But based on the fact that we're a company and we're growing and we want to become more, because just give me like a yes if you guys would love it if we could do more bonuses. How many of you, what are they all going to say?
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. The only way we're going to do it is we've got to be able to do the basics. So I, as much as you, have absolutely no interest in reminding you to do your job, but here's why we do it. It's for our customers. Because when we're on, we're no different than SEAL Team 6. Let me tell you a little about the Navy SEALs. You heard of them before?
Yep.
Are they good or are they phenomenal?
Phenomenal.
Everybody knows their job. Do you think they walk into an op randomly, or do you think they're prepared?
Prepared.
I want to think of Monday meetings as our preparation. What would you guys like to call these meetings from now on?
Definitely status meetings.
Would that be cool, status meetings?
Yeah.
No, because that's boring,
That's
right?
really boring.
See, why are we making this like SEAL Team 6? Why are we doing that?
Because they're phenomenal.
They're phenomenal. And we have the ability to be phenomenal as well. So let's talk about some of the traits of SEAL Team 6. Some of the things they do is they've got each other's backs. So one of the reasons I'm doing this is I'm throwing it out there so everybody knows what we need to do. It. Everybody knows everybody's got everybody's back, everybody wins. Everybody wins. So this is not about us, folks. It's about our customers. What does your customers do? What does your company do?
We predominantly serve the credit union group.
The who?
Credit unions?
Credit unions. These are people's houses. These are people's mortgages. These are people that matter. So we've got to remember our end result at the end of the day when somebody gets a loan. When a company works better, when a company works, you guys are credit cards or credit?
So it's like a bank, but better. So it's
You guys are a bank?
Nope, we host the technology platform for.
I don't know if you guys recognize what we do. Like every day people check their banks. I know I have like 6 banks that I work with. How many of you check your banks on a regular basis? Raise your hands. This is social proof right now. People check their banks. And when our stuff looks good, because you make stuff for them, that looks good and feels good, people feel comfortable. So a lot of what we're doing is we're giving confidence to people in a very messed up world. See where we're going with this? Bigger picture. You getting this? You want to fire them up, and then next week you'll have to do another one, and next week you'll do another one, but eventually they all think this is SEAL Team 6, or whatever's appropriate.
SEAL Team 6 works.
I like SEAL Team 6. You can't deny them, correct? And I'd study them, and maybe you want to get them all reading some of that stuff, or like do whatever you got to do, and then like have people get involved. So what I'd like to do is all of us take the job of, listen, it's not fun for me to always give the thing. So I'm going to send Tracy the list of what needs to get done this week. Tracy, will you read it off and even read off my job? How much is she dying to read off your freaking job? You got it?
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. I'm gonna get
Got it. Anyone's learned something? You guys like that? You gonna copy that?
Use the Patriots.
Patriots.
Ugh.
Okay, very good. I think I have a minute, so last question, anybody got one?
I just had a question to pile on to Jonathan's comment. So obviously,
Who are you? I'm just kidding, go ahead.
the result for, obviously him motivating them to get the message across is doing well in the long run. What are some immediate tells over the phone that people can be like, oh yeah, they're engaged?
You want to know that they're engaged?
Well, I wanna know, I mean.
I have them
out of
talk.
curiosity.
I've built a culture that when people take a course with me, I mean, if any of you guys want to listen to anything, I'll just talk to Cameron. If you guys want to listen to me do one of these or I can send you a copy of something, how I do it, I get engagement all the time. Like if you're doing 100 people on one with me, everyone thinks they're involved. So we've created it where everybody, so we're doing a conference call. What I do is, and Jason, you can add to this as well.
It's insane.
What's that?
It's insane how many people, because I've run obviously conference calls before, and it's like, I know what you're going through, it's like pulling teeth. I'm trying to do a training call, and he'll throw out a question, and you hear a cacophony of like 50 people speaking up on the phone, and it's like, you know, fucking get it.
You're like,
So responses,
He'll use a phrase. He'll
responses.
use a phrase all the time of "Does that make sense?" So he'll be telling you something. Does that make sense? And he has everybody literally nodding their head constantly.
How many times did I do that?
He did it
Did
with
you teach that to Sean? Because Sean does that.
He did it with me on the phone one time. And he did it about 15 times on about a 20-minute phone.
He wanted to stop me, and I said, don't.
I was like, I can't stop you doing this. Like, it's such a natural. But that's been a big one for me. Does that make sense?
Does that make sense?
So people.
So I get them engaged. So what I do is, if I'm dealing with somebody, I say, guys, I want to know how we know this meeting goes well, because what I'd like this to do is these meetings to be done in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and the way that they go well is interaction. Here's what I tell people. I'm auditory. I'm auditory, which if you've ever been in a relationship, you either want somebody to give you gifts or speaking or whatever. I need to make certain I don't repeat myself 50 freaking times, feedback. So if you could give me feedback, we could work on this. But do you know how good we could get in a couple of months at this? So it's feedback.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally. And that's what I was kind of hoping, because we have a lot of people that have virtual, team members, and I just want them to know they're doing it right in the moment and then in the long term as well.
Perfect. Guys, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.